Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are enjoying a relaxing skiing trip when the Catman suddenly starts chasing them down the slope. A steep cliff stretches out right in front of them, but they manage to glide across it just in time. The Catman stays close behind and quickly lunges forward, slashing their skis with his claws. From above, Fred watches everything carefully. The moment the Catman steps into position, Fred signals Velma to activate the laser projector. The Catman cannot resist the moving red light because of his feline instincts, and he follows it straight into the trap. Suddenly an avalanche crashes down the mountain and sweeps him away. The culprit is captured and everyone gathers to see who is hiding behind the mask. To their surprise, the person underneath is the daughter of the ski resort owner. She explains that her father plans to leave his entire fortune to his new young wife, even though the woman is only half her age. She says she feels desperate and believes she has no other choice. However, Mystery Inc. does not seem particularly concerned about her explanation. They quietly remove a single whisker from the Catman costume to examine it. The material matches the costumes from several previous cases they have solved, including the ghost of Captain Cutler involved Captain Cutler himself, the spooky space kook involving Henry, and the ghost clown case led by Harry. All of those costumes come from the same designer. The person responsible for creating them is Koko Diablo. At Koko Diablo's factory, workers are producing hundreds of elaborate costumes. Koko is busy greeting a special client. "We take pride in creating products that are completely safe and customer-friendly." At that moment, Trevor walks in with a Dracula costume he has just designed. "You cannot design anything other than Dracula. I am tired of seeing it." She grabs the costume and throws it straight into a crocodile pit without hesitation. The special client asks for something extraordinary. Koko invites him into her private office. He explains that he is about to purchase a piece of land at a low price, but someone is competing with him, so he needs a terrifying costume to scare his rival away. Koko presents a dramatic design and says, "This is exactly what you need. I call it the 10,000-volt ghost. If you get rid of the meddling kids who have destroyed all my costumes, I will give it to you for free. That is unfortunate for you because I am one of those meddling kids you want to eliminate." At that exact moment, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy reveal themselves. The office door opens and the police enter to arrest Koko Diablo. Velma is about to reward Scooby-Doo and Shaggy with Scooby snacks, but she becomes momentarily captivated by Koko's striking beauty. Before any feelings can develop, the officers place handcuffs on Koko. As she leaves, she tells the gang that sometimes having too much of a good thing can lead to consequences. Although Mystery Inc. successfully solves another case, they do not realize that this victory will eventually cost them. Without Koko creating monster costumes, there are no villains left to terrorize anyone. Mystery Inc. slowly falls into unemployment and spends their days helping people with minor everyday problems instead of solving grand mysteries. A year passes and now Mystery Inc. sits inside their office, waiting and hoping that a new mystery will appear. Fred misses the thrill of unmasking a villain so badly that he keeps tugging at the faces of random people around him, only to realize that none of them are wearing masks. Someone tells him to stop and reminds him that falsifying sales invoices is not the kind of crime they handle. They only need the man to return the money to his customers. No new mysteries arise since Koko's arrest. For the first time, Mystery Inc. begins to question whether capturing Koko Diablo was truly the right decision. She becomes famous in prison and even turns into a successful author. With her books selling remarkably well, some of them quietly admit that they might have made a mistake. Shaggy encourages everyone to cheer up because Halloween is coming the next day. Soon Scooby-Doo and Shaggy go out to trick-or-treat. Scooby-Doo dresses up as Shaggy and Shaggy dresses up as Scooby-Doo. They suddenly discover a house made entirely of candy and they cannot resist approaching it. However, that turns out to be just a dream. The real Halloween finally arrives. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy try on several costumes, but nothing feels right. Only when they both wear pumpkin costumes do they feel satisfied. The mystery machine pulls up in front of the house, and Scooby-Doo and Shaggy happily join Mystery Inc. for another adventure. Fred suggests that they set up a booth at the Halloween festival where people can share the strange mysteries they encounter. He believes that if they do that, Mystery Inc. might finally get a new case to solve. But what about enjoying Halloween? The moment Fred hears that question, he suddenly pulls the mystery machine to a stop and says he needs to take care of something first. He walks over to a wishing well nearby. Standing in front of it, he closes his eyes and wishes that Mystery Inc. will receive a brand new mystery. He drops a coin into the water and watches it sink. He does not expect that he would miss the thrill of solving a case this much. Soon after that, Mystery Inc. arrives at the Halloween festival. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy volunteer to search for potential clients, even though they claim they are going to help people. They completely forget their mission the moment they see the apple bobbing game. Without hesitation, they abandon their responsibility and join the game instead. While they are laughing and having fun, a ghoulish lookalike of Fred suddenly appears. The moment they see it, they panic and run away. As they flee, Shaggy quickly tells Scooby-Doo not to mention this to Fred because he does not want to spend Halloween solving another mystery. They return to the booth and pretend that they have not seen any ghost at all. However, Scooby-Doo is too frightened to keep the secret and blurts out everything. Before long, the ghost appears again. Fred feels excited because he believes his wish has come true. But that excitement quickly turns into fear when the ghost begins chasing them. The ghost announces that it has come specifically for Mystery Inc. Just as the gang is about to get into the mystery machine, the vehicle is violently destroyed. With no other option, they dive into a nearby bush to hide. Fred insists that if the ghost holds a grudge against them, then there is only one possible mastermind behind this attack, and that person must be Koko Diablo. The gang immediately heads to the prison where Koko Diablo is being held. The warden Collins turns out to be a huge fan of Mystery Inc. However, the other inmates feel the opposite. They cover their cell walls with pictures of the gang and throw darts at them to vent their frustration for being captured. Collins decides to demonstrate the prison's advanced security system. He pretends to unlock a prisoner's cell. The inmate believes he is about to be released and rushes forward, but he slams straight into an invisible electric barrier. After that, Collins leads Mystery Inc. to Koko Diablo's cell. Koko looks at the group and asks why they have all come to see her. The moment Velma sees Koko, she becomes visibly flustered. Fred does not waste time and directly accuses Koko of being responsible for the ghost that attacked them. Koko calmly denies the accusation and explains that if she had been there, she would immediately recognize whoever is copying her style. Velma proposes that they temporarily release Koko so she can help them track down the real villain. She argues that using one criminal to catch another criminal might actually work. Koko agrees, but she sets one condition. She wants her sentence reduced. Collins considers the proposal and says that assisting Mystery Inc. could count as good behavior, so he is willing to approve it under supervision. They reach an agreement, but Koko has to leave the prison wearing an electronic tracking bracelet. If she crosses the permitted boundary, the device will instantly alert the authorities after they leave the prison. Velma feels confused and overwhelmed because this is the first time she realizes she has feelings for another girl. She quietly asks Daphne for advice. Daphne gently tells her that she should simply be herself and not overthink it. Koko examines the mystery machine and compliments its durability. It is still running even though the vehicle has been heavily damaged. She jokingly says that it might be the toughest van in the world, although it moves slower than an electric scooter for seniors. After driving from morning until late afternoon, Mystery Inc. finally arrives at the scene of the attack. Koko carefully studies the gang's client notebook and quickly notices a suspicious name written inside Nefario. Fred suddenly remembers seeing that name somewhere before. The gang decides to visit the library to investigate further. They soon discover a book titled The Life and Crimes of Nefario. The book reveals that Count Nefario once lived in a grand castle perched high in a majestic mountain range. He gathers members of the European elite and forms a secret group called Misery Company. Using an ancient spellbook, he performs a ritual that grants immortality to himself and his followers. However, the ritual requires them to maintain a balance between good and evil in the world. Because Mystery Inc. has been eliminating villains for years, they have unintentionally tipped the balance too far toward good. Misery Company now believes they must remove Mystery Inc. in order to restore equilibrium. At that moment, Nefario suddenly appears behind Koko. The gang immediately runs and manages to find a temporary hiding place. Velma feels relieved when she does not see the other ghosts of Misery Company. But her relief does not last long because they soon appear as well. A chaotic chase begins. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy disguise themselves in an attempt to confuse their pursuers. In the middle of the escape, Scooby-Doo suddenly spots Candy and feels hungry. Shaggy even tells him to grab extra for him. Because of that distraction, the ghosts quickly notice them and they are forced to run once again. Meanwhile, Fred is thrilled to feel that old rush of excitement again, the same kind he used to have in the past. Even though he feels drained for a short while, he recovers at a surprisingly fast rate. Before long, Mystery Inc. regroups. Daphne suggests that everyone should hide behind the librarian because even a single loud noise in the library is enough for her to scold anyone, including the ghosts. Mystery Inc. continues trying to sneak away, but Shaggy gets stuck in the pumpkin costume. The others have to pull with all their strength to get him out just before Misery Company can catch up to them. Koko then says she has taken photos of their outfits and has figured out who is really behind everything. It turns out to be Trevor. Look who has managed to come this far. You tried to steal my old business model while I was locked up, didn't you? What are you talking about? I am talking about the way you plotted to get rid of Mystery Inc. Where were you an hour ago? Trevor suddenly bursts into tears as if he has been wrongly accused. Mystery Inc. immediately checks the security cameras. When they rewind the footage to a few hours earlier, they see something completely different from what they expected. Trevor has so few customers that he looks as though he is about to cry. Actually, I did have one large order last week. It was scheduled to be delivered to a prison. As soon as they hear this, Mystery Inc. shifts their suspicion toward Koko. Daphne asks to see the receipt and Trevor agrees. But the entire receipt is soaked because he has been crying so much while working. He looks like someone who has just graduated and is facing the harsh reality of adult life for the first time. While Mystery Inc. is trying to comfort him, Koko slips away and destroys the tracking device before leaving. By the time they rush outside, she has already returned to her factory. They want to chase after her immediately, but Fred insists on using the mystery machine. Unfortunately, the van is badly damaged. Trevor offers to help them fix it, and after several rounds of repairs, a Halloween-themed mystery machine finally takes shape. Mystery Inc. wastes no time and heads straight to Koko's factory. After a long drive, they finally arrive. Daphne suggests that they split up so they can search more efficiently. Okay, we agree. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy agree so quickly only because there is a vending machine right beside them. As soon as the two walk away, Velma, Fred and Daphne suddenly hear a strange noise. Mystery Inc. follows the sound and discovers that Misery Company is entertaining themselves nearby. At the same time, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are waiting for the vending machine to release their food, but it suddenly gets stuck. They start hitting the machine repeatedly, and the noise alerts Misery Company to the fact that someone is spying on them, while Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are still struggling to retrieve their bag of chicken jerky. The other three members are captured. When Shaggy hears his friends calling for help, he quickly suggests that he and Scooby-Doo do what they are best at, which is acting as bait so the villains will chase them. The two of them lure Misery Company toward the vending machine, planning to drop them into the alligator pit in order to rescue the others. Mystery Inc. still does not know who is truly behind everything. But the alligators suddenly spit out a pile of robotic parts from below. Koko then appears and claims that she is responsible for all of it. However, there is something in her eyes that makes Mystery Inc. doubt her confession. Scooby-Doo soon notices that Koko's cat is nowhere to be seen, relying on his powerful sense of smell. He tracks the scent to Koko's private office and realizes that the cat is inside along with someone else. When Fred hears this, he eagerly pulls open the office door and finds Collins holding the cat hostage. Collins is taken back into custody, and only then does Mystery Inc. realize that he is the only person skilled enough with technology to build those robots. He is obsessed enough with Mystery Inc. to recreate them almost perfectly, and he is capable enough to release Koko from the tracking system. Collins finally admits that he does all of this because Mystery Inc. has helped him capture 10 times more prisoners than any other officer. However, once Koko is arrested, the crime rate drops significantly. When Collins sees Fred standing in despair and begging the wishing well for a new mystery to solve, he suddenly comes up with a reckless idea as a way to repay them. He creates robots that look exactly like the members of Mystery Inc. and scatters clues all over the city to stage a grand mystery for them. Now Collins wants to shut down all the robots to make sure no one gets hurt, but he accidentally presses the button that disables the prison's security system instead. Even though he hurriedly tries to turn it back on, he ends up breaking the control device. As a result, criminals begin pouring out and spreading across the city. They commit outrageous crimes in broad daylight, including stealing candy from little kids. Mystery Inc. has no idea how they can possibly catch all the criminals at the same time, and that is when Koko offers a solution. She offers to lend them the very villain costumes that Mystery Inc. has previously exposed. Before long, they are dressed as the villains themselves, planning to use those same disguises to outsmart and capture the real criminals. It takes them until sunrise to finally round up every last one. Before the criminals are sent back behind bars, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy make sure to demand all the stolen candy back. At first, the criminals stubbornly refuse to return it, but once Koko activates her the 10,000-volt ghost costume and sends a sharp electric shock through them, each of them quickly gives in. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are thrilled to see the mountain of candy in front of them, but Koko reminds them that all of it was stolen and needs to be returned to the children. The two of them instantly fall into disappointment. Trevor steps in to comfort them. His gloomy expression makes everyone feel sorry for him. and people begin handing him candy out of sympathy. Trevor then explains that he is currently on a diet and has successfully stuck to it, so he can now confidently remove his disguise and show his real appearance. Meanwhile, Velma gathers the courage to confess her feelings to Koko. She never expects that Koko also has feelings for her, and the joy almost overwhelms her. Even so, Velma understands that she will have to wait until Koko finishes her prison sentence before they can go on a proper date. After everything, Mystery Inc. feels satisfied because they have solved such a complicated mystery. Everyone is ready to rest at last. But Fred suddenly throws another handful of money into the wishing well and makes yet another wish for more mysteries to come.